I appreciate you holding this hearing today. I did have the ability to speak with Acting Director Johnson earlier this week, so thank you again for taking the time to meet with me earlier this week. My time today I'm going to devote to follow-up questions from that conversation, as well as a few concerning issues that have been brought to my attention, specifically about ICE's activity or lack thereof in certain cases as well. These issues and a general lack of information are highly concerning to me, and we're going to follow up with the Secretary when he's in a few weeks, but these issues must be addressed by ICE leadership and the administration. In my mind, it's part of our role to hold everybody accountable and make sure taxpayer dollars are spent effectively. So Director Johnson, thank you again for your service and our frank conversation earlier this week. I also think it's important to note when members of this committee reach out to ask for answers, we're doing that not to create more work for you, but because we are ultimately accountable to the American taxpayer and require those answers to be able to make truly informed decisions about how to spend those taxpayer dollars, their money. So thank you for the responses I have already received, and I trust that you and your team are going to follow up on the other questions that we discussed in our call. We did talk about in our call the disconnect between ICE and Customs and Border Patrol, specifically when it comes to tracking illegal immigrants once they have been released into the United States. So today, can you confirm for me the inability for ICE to track illegal immigrants' location and then their activity within the homeland on that person level following their release by CBP?
Sure. Thanks, Congresswoman. As I mentioned in our call, there's certainly some gaps in our ability to track everyone that's released in the interior. For those individuals that are released on alternatives to detention, whether it's an ankle monitor or a smart link or telephonic reporting, we have much better success at keeping track of those. But for individuals that are just released with notification to report to ICE or to show up in court, then our ability to track those folks closely is much more limited.
Yeah. So this gap you talk about, why is it so much more challenging to track individuals now than it was in 2019?
No, I don't think it was much more limited to track in 2019. The systems have been the same systems are in place. And in 2019, when we were seeing a surge of family units that were being released, I mean, they were being released with a notice to appear and not, we couldn't enroll everyone on ATD because the numbers were high, just as they are now. So we were certainly running into those same issues in 2019 as we are today. That's not changed.
Can you state for the record that you're not currently able to tell Iowans how many illegal immigrants are present in Iowa right now, or how many CBP has released into the country with plans to be in Iowa?
That is correct. I mean, and again, I would want to just, that's my understanding. I'd like to start with, I would like to go back to CBP and just clarify that they are unable to pull data by state, but that is my understanding that their system of record will not sort of produce a report based on the states that the individuals that they're releasing are proposing to reside.
Right, and you say you want to go back to them, obviously, to confirm this, but do you believe that ICE should be able to provide this information? Obviously, we've got a gap here in communication if you can't and they can't. But do you believe Americans should know if illegal immigrants are in their neighborhoods? Specifically, you talk about some of these risk categories. I think people deserve to know who's coming in.
I agree, and we, it should be possible for that information to be transferred over to ICE's system of record in a way that would allow us to track folks down to the state and quite frankly the cities that these individuals are living in. We just don't have that capability or capacity currently.
Okay, so why is that? I mean, is it lack of resources that you're not able to track individuals down to that in-person level at this point?
It's the two systems, the one system that CBP uses and the one that ICE uses. They just don't talk to each other in a meaningful way. So I do think it's getting some technology that'll make the two systems talk would be extremely, helpful. Or, maybe we will have to just scrap the two systems that are being used and start afresh with something that provides the sophistication that we need to track folks.
Well, Director Johnson, I appreciate those answers, and I'll probably have a few more questions around you, but thank you. And Madam Chair, I yield back. Thank you.
Mr. Aguilar.